somewhere. Your people, your family, your ancestors, your tribe, your group, whatever it is, everybody has a place on this earth where they come from. And it's important to know that. Now, like I say, Little Spirits, this is not a Steven Spielberg movie. You know, this is not something with special effects. It's really how we visualize it, how we conduct our lives that makes the ceremony. Even the souls don't come from the outside to visit us. That's a Western concept. That's shopping. They actually come from the inside out to us. That's why it's hard for us to find them, because we're out there looking like this. Everybody's looking for colors or some sign or something, but it's actually they come from within. It's our own genetics. It's our own DNA. Our ancestors are in us. We are the expression of our ancestors. We have or had a mother and a father. And if you know genetics, then behind of your mother and your father, they had mother and father. And behind them, they had a mother and father. Then I run out of fingers. 8, 16, 32, 64. What's the next one? Just bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of that streaming, live streaming through us in this one being that we are. We're all of that. We are the living tree of life. So by using our minds, meditation, concentration, when we think of our loved ones, we activate actually in our own selves that memory, and we download it. We download it, make it hard copy in a way. So try and think about that. Think about the awesome responsibility of being a human being. Because whatever we think, we create. Just think of your life today. How was it? Because we created it. We set the conditions, the causes, the conditions, the situation for everything to happen. And if we don't like that, then we should change things and rearrange things. And that's like prayer or asking your ancestors for help. It's talking to our own minds. So imagine now, as we go on this next part of our journey, we're going to leave the world that we knew behind. That means just relax and just become present. And just all your problems, all your happiness, all your cars, all your phones, it'll all be there when we return. But in this moment, we're going to take a path forward, leave all of that present time, and just move along forward. This is called the path, spiritual path. Let's take a walk now using our imagination, because our imagination is how we make things real. We manifest it through our, however strong, however vivid, however colorful you can imagine. The quicker, sooner, and more materialized you will make things. It's a pixelization, all of our thoughts. So right within the inner forehead is a screen that we can imagine these things. That's what, for children, fairy tales and things are. They really imagine it. It's real. You know, with kids, that they always say, well, it's really real for them. Well, of course, because they're really living it. So this land where we're beginning, this new land, this new journey we're taking, is in real time. Imagine this is the most real time that can be. There is no other time except right now, this moment. Everything I said, did 2 minutes ago is already gone. What's coming is not here yet in the future. So it's by being in this moment in time, having a path, and your path is our intention. We're intending to have a good present life being on an intentional path. That's a fairy tale, but it's a real fairy tale. Why we're doing this is our motivation. What's our motivation? To do something. Because I want to make things better. I want to be healthier. I want to be realer. I want to be happier, whatever it may be. Well, how we walk on that road, our intention is how it all happens. So in this world that we're taking our little baby steps on, is a world filled with every possibility. Every possibility is before us. And each of us has everything that it takes. Nobody is lacking in anything. We're all equal in the sense that we all can do things. Have access to doing things. This is called what? The quantum field. In quantum field theory of science. All possibilities are here. What we imagine, what we intend, how we're motivated forward is what will happen out of that. It all draws together like a magnet, like a glue, and it will happen. So today just happens to be a day of days, a time of times, in which we can reflect very deeply on our lives and really look. So we say in the old tradition, I put a mirror before you. I offer you a mirror to look at yourself. And not like a bathroom mirror. That's called a white mirror. But I offer you a dark mirror, a dark field microscope, like that's another way to say it today, dark field, which is our unconscious or obsidian mirror. In the old days, we used obsidian mirrors. In the white mirror, when you're in the bathroom, it looks at all of our objective, how we look, how many wrinkles we have, what our hair looks like, and all of that. It's a projected image. In a dark field mirror or microscope, you see the unconscious, the part we generally don't notice about ourselves. This is also called the dreaming. We're dreaming. So as we're walking along this narrative, all possibilities are here because we could dream. We can dream these things, the possibilities of dreaming. That's what happens when we go to sleep at night. We enter the black field, right? In the daytime, you see everything's, we call it the world of the tonal. I can see it, I could touch it, I could see it, I could project it, I could throw it, I know where to catch it, I could move it in space. Now at night in our dreams, that's a lot harder. Can be done. That's called the training of lucid dreaming and living within that dream. And that between is the world we're in right now. The ceremonies and what we're preparing for. We're walking between living and dying. And most of you have forgotten to breathe again already. Remember, start in again. Keep reminding yourself to breathe. Because if you don't breathe, you sleep, you fall asleep in your thinking. So we're taking a journey to life's destination. This life's destination, the one that sounds that is solid and like this. This all ends somewhere for us.
You need some water?
No. We need air.
Can you open the door?
Yeah, if we could just, let's get a little bit of air in.
And Vanessa, do you want this chair? See, sharp. How'd you know? I didn't know.
The dream told. So what is that destination? Where are we ultimately going here? We're going to the Pantheon. We're going to the cemetery. That's what happens here. In the end, everything finishes. Everything is a hard copy, real, on time and all of that. And one day everything finishes and it ends up at the cemetery. So the cemetery, think about it. We see them all the time. We pass by them all the time. May not look at it, may not pay attention to it, but it's here. And most people don't like to visit them or to go around them because it's not always fun, but ultimately that's where we're going.
Hopefully that helps. Stan, would you like to take your mask off? You don't have to, but would you like to take your mask off? You don't have to, but you're on camera, so I figure.
Does it look like I have a goatee?
Yeah, a little chin strap.
Do I look like a goat? I think I'll put the ring on too. So let's go to the Pantheon. Let's go to the final resting place and make friends. No fears, no hurry, no worry. Everything that is born, and we were all born, will be unborn one day. That's the nature of it. There's nothing serious about it or mysterious about it. That's a law of nature. Very simple law of nature. Everything born will be unborn. We have a little channel between the infinite to the infinite. We go through this journey of finite. Everything here is finite. This beautiful Senpatsulche comes this time of year that reminds us we're living. And then when we open it up, and we begin to study it, we begin to notice that not there anymore, right? What we started with is not there, but it is still here. Everything's still here. So that one blossom is now 20 blossoms. If you look at this, each one is a flower. Sempa, 20. Sulce, flower. This is a flower of 20 petals. It reminds us, this talks to us about the true nature of time and real time, not American time, not the time we live in now. So then it's all open life. The blossoming of life is all what was one is now 20. What was a flower is, what do you call this? I don't know. A mess. So we are now opening the ceremony. Notice. We all come from families. We all come from somewhere. Ultimately, a mom and a dad. Or there's new ways that it can be done today, but still using that same old model. I work with, and I have a group of my spiritual students, young. They're a unique tribe. They're conceived through what's called cold conception. I don't know if you know that. They're not born in the natural way, birds and the bees, but through artificial insemination. There is no passion involved. It's cold conception. And that's a different way of life, and these individuals are different. Generally, they are not emotional, do not bond or connect with other people because they weren't born out of that. So it's a very unique group of young people. They have other fabulous gifts. They don't have to be messing around like the rest of us, birds of the bees. They go right to things. Cold conception. So we're trying to figure out now, there's a whole kind of generation of these people. What's going to be cold death for these? What are their deaths going to be like? We don't know yet. So in a future Day of the Dead, we're going to have to include that category. So life is very thick, complicated. Just like in a garden that was planted in the spring, I plant my Simplesulce in the spring, late spring. Then they harvest at this time. I know what time it is. And at this time of year, now the garden is here to be, it's going back to sleep, right? It's falling. The leaves are falling. The acorns are dropping. The winds that are coming are breaking the limbs off of certain trees now. Gravity is having its call. The Grim Reaper is having his call. Everywhere we look, everywhere we wear, we see the kalaka, the skeleton, the skulls everywhere. It's a phenomenon all over the world. Tattoos, napkins, candies, fashion, it's all there. But something is wanting us to look at this. Something is calling us. Something is, and that's this calling. Our ancestors want to be heard and seen, talked about. If you watch my Facebook posts, you see I've been posting all the different souls returning. First comes the Ancient of Ancients. The oldest, farthest come first. They come. Then those who were suffering the most, who died through suffering, through lack, through hunger, through torture, then they come. They're desperate, but they're far, far away. And then it just keeps coming. And then Halloween is the day when our family lineages start arriving. That's when the kid and we begin the first ones to arrive on our lineages are the young people who have died, or in the church, how you say they're in limbo. They're not quite resolved yet. So they come first. And that's when all the young kids dress up and disguise themselves in costumes and go knock on everyone's door. And what do they say? Trick or treat. Which means, are you generous or not? Do you see me or not? Who do you believe in? What? And if you're given an offering of sweets, then all of those ghosts and goblins leave your house and don't trick you. Now, most kids don't even say that, and they don't trick. In my days, you used to toilet paper the house, rotten eggs, or worse, break windows and stuff. But we were juvenile delinquents. And, youth at risk later on. And that's the time, yesterday, when we add sweets to the altar. The early times we offer salt, healing of the wounds, those that have suffered. Especially this year is difficult because we have COVID-19, the quickest amount of souls floating out there. Many don't even know they're dead. If you are on a respirator, it takes you a long time to figure out you're dead because you've been on morphine. If you're on a respirator, you can't do that without a medication for too long. So we have all these beings floating around. So it was a tough beginning. Now today, All Souls Days begins our lineage. That's when we put the pictures up, our family's favorite foods, so forth. That's where that kind of tradition starts appearing, and that we hear about and read about in Day of the Dead and all of that. But all of this has a purpose. It's a feeding of those souls. Trick or treat. In other words, we call the spirits in, but we don't do anything. We don't make offerings. We don't talk to them. That's rude. That's going to mean somewhere along the line, someone's going to get sick. That's why we tell people, be careful what you wear and what you do and what you say, because you're going to pay the price for it. And if you don't, the sins of the Father go unto the Son, and one you love will pay your price for it. It's basic nature's hygiene. So today is the day when the young people and the young souls come, and the babies and so forth, they arrive first. And then tomorrow There's all the families, all the way to the elders. That's like almost Thanksgiving. That's when it starts ramping up, feeding, people eating, taking shots and stuff, to get all excited because the whole gang's all together again. Then on the next day, everybody starts returning home and there's celebration, big celebrations. Or you go back to work or whatever. And then a new cycle begins. If we do this right, we become healthier. If we don't do it right or don't acknowledge it, I think it's called holiday burnout or something like that. You just start wrapping up. It's like the adrenals start going. And people are doing and buying and moving and doing things. You get so busy that they lose themselves. And it's like, what's the reason for the season? What am I doing? Where am I leading my children in this way? Screaming at my kids, running, screaming at the neighbors, or jamming off, flipping somebody off in the cars. No, this is kind of holy time building up towards the end of the year, because here comes winter, where the deep introspection is going to occur. And we're going to meet the spirits then. So let's take a minute here, deep breath again. Think of all the losses that we have had. Deaths that occurred this year. And live it. It's perfectly okay. It's a happy and a sad time. That means relationships, pets, the bubble burst, your fantasies all broke, and you realize that life is not going to be how you thought it was going to be. All of those, that's all grieving. That's all hurting. Divorces, abandonments, betrayals, that's all a grieving process. Loneliness, that's all a part of that. And I apologize that life is so harsh for us all. For those of you who had losses this year, my deepest condolences to you. It is not easy. It's not. But in time, that story starts to dissolve and it gets different. Never gets easier, never gets better. It gets different. That's what gives us character. Especially when we lose our parents, our own mortality comes up for us because we realize, our roots, have ended, and we are that. We have to move on alone now. If any of you have ever experienced the loss of a child, then you know that pain, just unspeakable, that your children would go before you. I have a son right up here at the cemetery up the hill. It's just unspeakable pain, there's nothing anyone could say or do or anything will make that easier. Now I'm talking all on the earth life, because in an everlasting life, it's joyful in spirit. Nobody goes anywhere. Spirit is neither created nor dies. It's ever present. All those beings are still with us. And that's what a memory. They live in our memory. They live in our body. We look in the mirror, we may even look like them. They live in us, in our bodies. in our customs, our what we like to eat and how we like to do it, is all them. All their better qualities, we may do those things too. Their bad habits, we may do those things too. I have a sweet tooth like my mom. It's just like, as much as I try, it's like, and she'd always go, don't do this because you have to go to the dentist. And I go, I'm trying, but I like those cookies, I like this. It's comfortable. So tonight, let's help each other. Be comfortable about life, facing our lives, living, moving forward. If you have a little hurt, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is it'll change. The bad news is it'll return, and we just have to keep working with it. Just keep living. Now, when we memorialize, we always reflect, think about them, and learn the lessons that they were trying to teach us. If anything happens here tonight, is that we learn a lesson to be better people. And that's the voice of your ancestors. There's someone speaking right now to someone that just wants to really accentuate that fact. Just learn the lesson, everything will be okay. And a lot of your moms are here. And dads. But you know how dads are. They don't talk much. But they taught how to live the life. They showed how to work and how to do things, how to take care of themselves. So a lot of our habits and a lot of our good and bad habits come from our dads. It's like, do this, don't do that. I told you this. Do I have to tell you again? All of those things. But moms are like the encouragers. Sickness, I should say, how do we die? There's many ways a human being can die. Through the lack of love, a person just can simply die. Without meaning or purpose in a person's life, they could die through loneliness, through lack of connection. A person can die. Accidents, misfortunes, just like that, the unexpected meets us. Through some kind of prolonged illness, diseases, and then modern diseases, viruses, bacteria, syndromes, complications of a Western way of life. You eat too much rich foods, blow your gallbladder and liver out. So there's different ways we do it. And we all have a weakness or a way that we can go. And by learning, we can learn to live a full, happy life. So in this memorial, what I'd like to do in this next step is take a look at your physical body and listen to the air. Listen to your ancestors. Because they're all here. I can see them coming right from behind you. And they want to walk right on through. But when you open up more, then they just go walking through to us. So in other words, they're coming up from the inside. You know already. And I know a lot of this may seem strange and different, and I don't really care. That's the nature of the dark unconscious that we're not aware of. What we know, we already know. It's what we don't know, that's what we have to become more aware of. So look at your body, feel your body. That's the first death, right? When the body gives out. Now we all know what our strengths and weaknesses are. We all know what we're not doing and not doing. Or how many pounds overweight. I'm overweight 15 pounds and I'm working on it hard all the time. So what is it? This is the time to make a resolve and do something about it. And not just wait, but put it. But we know high fiber, low fat diet, exercise, meaningful activity and exploration of the mind, new things are all what keep us engaged, right? And that's what makes the mechanics of the body work. I mean, I know there's a digestive system and a nervous system and all that stuff. But what motivates this body to be an envelope, to hold all of this together? It's our spiritual purpose that keeps everything together. Otherwise, we're aggregates. We're all the elements, 122 natural elemental aggregates in motion between time and space. And we're balancing all of those things. That's what health is. Too much this, not enough of that. Too much work, too busy. So health is different for everyone, and the physical body will become whatever your mind tells it it is or will do. So moving forward, become aware of what you're telling yourself. This is killing me. I'm dying to know. Listen when you say stuff, you're like, ooh, I think I shouldn't be talking like that, because it happens. So there's the ancestral message, to be kinder, start using family poetics, be more poetic, be more creative, be more expansive. Like with my students, and I'm working with them and we work on creative life, and they start swearing. I just come unglued. I don't care that they're swearing, but it's so, for every F in this and F in that, I'm going, don't you have another adjective? That's so stupid. I mean, I'm going to record you and you listen to that. You're not saying anything. It's not even, why are you stuck on that? So it's like, that's what beauty and song, and put that all running through the body. That's how the body works. Besides vitamins and minerals, I know. The body is interconnected with the mind. So the other side is the mind. Having a healthy mind, a mind that is disciplined, can take care of itself, knows what to do, how to ask itself its own questions. All of that's important. That's education. That's why we educate ourselves, not just to do math and things, but to be able to learn things through education. So I gave you the whole history of the spiritual world in these few minutes. Now let's open up the altar. Altar is a Latin word, and it means whatever you revere, whatever you value, to lift high. And that's what it means. Reverence is the state of lifting something up high. If you really believe in something, you hold it up high. You don't let flies on it, or other people touch it, or anything. You lift. Those are values, right? Principles, philosophies. You hold up idealisms. You hold them up high. So that's what we're doing now. Let's lift ourselves up higher. We deserve and are better than the world is giving us credit for. We're dreamers. Let's lift ourselves up. If you feel lacking in something, or shy, or bored, or all of these things I feel around, that's not it. Just simply you lift yourself up higher. Like a great cathedral, or a spire of a church, or something that is just straight up touching the highest point that you can. Or it's like in the gym when you're shooting hoops and you can hit a 3-pointer. That's lifting. That's focus. That's lifting the line. Put it in place. That's how we are. So if we lift that up, open up the altar, and we can actually, I'm going to switch a little bit if I'm leaving. I got my back to the altar. So think about your ancestors. Everybody and all things have a name. And that's how we're called in this world. We have names. Most of us have many names. From official names, Bank of America names, library card names, IRS names, to street nicknames, about our character, whatever it may be. So think about all your names. Or a real crazy one today is our divorced women who carry their husband's name after divorce. And I always just go, why? You dumped him. I mean, you made arrangements with him, but you carry his name? What? Why? That's not your lineage. That's not anything, but you're still, or any of us. I was foster child, so we had, I could have all kinds of names. And the one I use is just American name, because it's the one that works in this world. So think of your name. When the world calls your name, you respond. When we call our children, we call them by their name. They wake up, they work up, and they pay attention. Well, it's the same with those departed. When we say their names, they come directly here. So what we're going to do, this is a ceremony of names. It's oftentimes called pages in the Book of Nature. We open the Book of Nature, and every page we call those names out, and they come to visit us. That's basically what this ceremony is. We do that until we're out of names. And then we eat in their name, Feel good? And then go to our homes. So when we say a name, we're offering it to everyone. We offer it freely. The freer you could be about offering the name, that shows how you can release. You're not attached to it anymore. It's hard sometimes. Laughter, tears, shyness, all of that comes about, and that's all normal. It's just free. And when someone says the name, and I'm going to invite you if you want to offer, and you'll get the spirit of it, and you help me, Rocky. Then we say present. We all say present or presente. You know, I recognize the spirit coming. I mean, the soul coming. You know, I recognize it. So let's start with the youngest spirits, youngest souls, children who were born and lived long enough to have a name. You know? I'm going to offer my son's name, Luce, and you all say present.
Present.
So Luce is here. Son is done. You know, I don't have to carry that anymore. I could feel it in my heart. Otherwise, I carry it. Because I have to go, you know, during these days, I go clean his grave and everything, and, you know, make sure everything's well taken care of. Any other children? All the children of the COVID.
Yes.
Present, you know, all those kids that have slipped away, all the hungry children and oppressed children. Present. Anybody else? Just like
Holy.
Present.
Present.
Tommy.
Present.
Lorraine.
Present.
Elizabeth.
Present. All the young suicides. Present.
Ted.
Present.
Vincent.
Present.
Eddie.
Present.
Abraham.
Present.
Sheldon.
Present.
Lulu.
Present.
Damon.
Present. Those young who we lost through drugs and alcohol addiction.
Present.
Kenny.
Present.
Zachary.
Present.
Jason.
Present.
Emily.
Present.
Tommy.
Present.
Tyler.
Present.
More specifically, those who we lost through fentanyl this year.
Present.
Ones we lost through homelessness and miscare. Present. May they all live and be come form, regather their form and come live again. A new opportunity, come to be born again. Give it a new try. If it was too hard to stay this time, like with my little baby son, I'm not too sad because I already know he's already reborn, and I know that reborn. And that's my Quentin. So my son comes back to be my great-grandson now, and now we get to finish our time together. So it's all connected It's a small world. It's all interlinked. It's a very small world that those that we love and care about, those who have departed, will come back and be with us again in a different form. If we didn't get along in one, we'll be born again. If you were too bossy to somebody in that life, you'll come back to be boss, but it all levels out. So let's honor all those who died in pregnancy, the
Present.
moms and the babies,
Present.
and in war or in, it's torturous to hear when refugees are having babies, like on the tarmac in Afghanistan or something like that. It's just like, if it's not hard enough, and then, but present, there's, none of us are victims. We all have our time. We all have our place. And so let's honor all the adult women.
Present.
Be their moms, sisters, aunts, cousins, grandmas, bosses.
Present.
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 Present. And if they have names,
Martha.
present.
Tanya.
Present.
Jill.
Present.
Mary.
Present.
Diane.
Present. Present. Kirsten.
Present.
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 Mary.
Present.
Present.
Irene.
Present.
Haley.
Present. Lisa.
Present.
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 Lawrence.
Present. How about all those women that helped us that we're not related to? They were some kind of just like angels, or they were there for us. A librarian, somebody on the street or something. A mentor.
Present.
Yeah, present.
Present.
Zoe.
Present.
That's unconditional love there. When some people help with, they have no other motive, or you're not related or anything. That's a lesson right there for all of us.
Mother Teresa.
Present. Ruth Bader.
All the ladies up here, all the freedom fighters, all the civil rights leaders, all those that ultimately, all these people sacrifice their own lives and don't live a long life.
Present. Present.
About all the elder women, the
Present.
wise ones who lived a long, good, healthy life.
Present.
Present. Present.
Present.
Women veterans gave their life in service for all of us.
Present.
All the young men, the young workers, maybe died in mishap or just overwork or some present.
Present.
For those who have toiled in the fields and in the factories and in the first responders.
Present.
Present.
El Rojas.
Present.
Joseph.
Present.
Present. So present.
Present. To all those who reached a full, long aged life and died naturally.
Present. Jim. Present. Present. Present.
Roger.
Present. Present.
All the veterans, male veterans,
Present.
first responders,
Present.
sacrificed their lives, and all the COVID people,
Present.
and all those who have died tragedy, oppression, homelessness, hunger, all those who died at the hands of wickedness.
Present.
Present.
Present. Present. All of them.
Present.
Present.
For all those who seem to find themselves victims of society that become like George Floyd, what destiny do they have for these things to occur that makes social change? To all those sacrificial people.
Present.
To all those in service, in the ministry, in the academia, medicine, sports, military,
Present.
who serve life.
Present. I was going to say the same.
To those wise people that we lost this year.
Present.
Present.
Zumbi Stephen Gaines.
Present.
Shock G.
Present. Grandma Judy.
Present.
Colin.
Present. DMX. Present.
So all the pets and friends and little relatives people lost this year that they felt.
Present.
With all those little beings, say when that happens, they're changing forms, they're getting ready to take the next step. They may be born as humans next time, if they're loved and taken, given in service. And service animals, the one that were given to serve humans.
Stripe.
Present.
Present. Present. Present.
Present. To all of the teachers that we lost this year.
Present.
Yeah, and elders.
Present.
We lost just this week, the eldest elder passed away. He was buried just a few days ago. That's a big deal in this area.
Present.
To all those who lost their minds, lost their way, lost their will, were betrayed, or were tricked, and they lost themselves.
Present.
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 Present. Alan.
Present.
Hector Monson.
Present.
Mike. Present.
Present.
Allison.
Present. Josh.
Present.
To all the murdered victims this year.
Present. Present.
To all those who died of torture.
Present.
So now we begin to gather ourselves and gather around ourselves in this little story, and we're going to come back to ourselves here again. For the year, we made the corona, the aura, crown, circle that is the bright orange flower wreath, then becomes the Christmas wreath, evergreen. You know, Christmas, we hold the circle of life. You see? We completed what we came to do. We did and fulfilled our spiritual responsibility as human beings. We were open and honest with each other, vulnerable and strong and courageous. Tender. Now to seal all of this up with a mind of steel and a will of steel, not to be taken out away from that circle. Hold on to that circle, you know, for all of us whole people together. Keep our intentions, keep our motivations, keep our discipline. And reach out, because these dead are our helpers. They are our guides. When we have these little intuitions and stuff throughout or that little voice inside, trust it. Could be one of our ancestors, could be someone you heard in here today now, because we all became a part of that, speaking of the names. So we're all richer because of it. And we're all more family because of that. Thank you to Natalie and Rocky and the whole Congress for how long have we been doing this now?
I believe this is the 7th year.
7th year.
Thank you, guys.
And we used to do it outdoors, and now we just keep going and do how we can, what we can do, how we can do it. And
9 years?
what's that?
9 years? 2013? Am I doing my math right? I apologize, but wow.
That'd be like 8.
2013.
Okay, yeah.
Just 21 minus 13, that's 8. 8 years. That's a laugh.
It's 9 events. 13,
We
14,
appreciate you,
15.
Stan.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. You're welcome. I hope I can keep doing it for a while.
That's 2.
I've been at it now 55 years,
Wow.
doing the ceremony. I'm getting tired. We got to go to work in the morning now.
So one of these days I gotta write it down, keep the tradition going like that.
We're
Yeah.
working on it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It goes on and on. And it lives in all of us. Now, all of us have this. We have to just keep using this as inspiration. And again, maybe we could turn this off.
Yes, and you have a bunch of thank yous.
We're going to do that. Oh,
no.
thank you, everybody. Bye.
We're gonna close up the ceremony now. Thank you.
Well,
Or for the public.
yeah.
Thank you.